This is Autoline Daily, the show dedicated to enthusiasts of the global automotive industry. In a stinging rejection to the UAW, workers at the Mercedes-Benz plant in Alabama resoundingly voted against the union. Over 90% of the workers at the plant voted in the union election, and 56% of them voted to keep the union out. The result was surprising because the UAW claimed that it had a supermajority of workers who signed cards calling for an election. UAW President Shawn Fain accused Mercedes of engaging in, quote, egregious illegal behavior. So it may be setting itself up to go after the company in other ways. But now all eyes turn to the Hyundai assembly plant in Alabama and a Toyota engine plant in Missouri, where the UAW currently has organization efforts going. And in other labor news, workers at a BYD plant staged a strike last week over wages, and it gives you an idea of the kind of money a Chinese line worker earns. BYD just implemented a 4-shift schedule, with those shifts working 8 hours a day for 5 days a week. But it also eliminated overtime pay, and workers rely on that time and a half overtime to boost their income. With the overtime, those workers earned $8,300 to $10,700 a year. But without it, they only make $5,000 a year, and that's why they went on strike. There's an unexpected shakeup in management at Stellantis. Tim Kuniskis, who is the head of the Dodge and Ram brands, is retiring after nearly 32 years with the company, and his roles are being filled by 2 people. Christine Fuel will take over Ram, in addition to being the CEO of the Chrysler brand, and Matt McAleer, who had led all of Dodge's sales operations, will become CEO of that brand. The moves take effect on June 1st. Kuniskis doesn't look like your typical gray-haired retiree, and he always seemed really passionate about the cars that he sold anytime he was on our shows like ATW and After Hours. But it wasn't easy booking him for all those shows because of a busy schedule, and Kuniskis has a family. I guess this is all to say, I don't know what he'll do, but he always seemed like a decent guy, so I just want to wish him the best of luck. Did you realize how heavily Tesla relied on fleet sales in Europe? Reuters reports that 44% of all Teslas sold in Europe and the UK go to fleet operators. That includes daily rental companies, but it also includes corporate fleets, where company cars are a perk offered to many executives to take advantage of generous tax breaks. But all of Tesla's price cuts have hurt the residual value of its cars, which in turn has hurt fleet and leasing companies that handle Teslas. So the automaker is offering them unofficial discounts to try and offset the drop in residual values. But the fleet and leasing companies are also complaining about slow service and expensive repairs, and some of them are now looking at getting Chinese EVs instead. Slowly but surely, hydrogen fuel cells keep making progress, and now Honda is making them for semi-trucks in North America. It's showcasing a concept truck at this week's Advanced Clean Transportation Expo in Las Vegas. The Class 8 truck is powered by 3 fuel cell systems that provide an estimated range of 400 miles. The fuel cells were jointly developed with General Motors, and they're being built at a joint venture production plant in Brownstown, Michigan. Honda says the cost of the fuel cell system is 2/3 less than the one used in the 2019 Clarity. It didn't say when the truck will launch, but it is currently looking for customers.
There's nothing wrong with heavy metal.
Hey, lighten up.
But with world-class composite material, Teijin Automotive Technologies makes vehicles lighter, safer, and more eco-friendly.
There's a lot of skepticism about autonomous vehicles becoming a reality, but Chinese tech giant Baidu just launched its 6th-generation Robotaxi. Called the RT6, it's a level 4 AV with 5 LiDARs and 40 sensors. But despite all that tech, the model costs a little over $28,000, which is 50% less than its previous generation Robotaxi. The vehicle is built by Jianling Motors and features a 110 kilowatt electric motor from BYD and a swappable LFP battery pack, but its size wasn't disclosed. It has a top speed of 135 kilometers an hour, or about 84 miles an hour. The RT6 Robotaxis will operate in the city of Wuhan, and Baidu plans to deploy 1,000 of them by the end of the year. But that's not the only Robotaxi it may have in its fleet. A Baidu executive says it's considering using Tesla's Robotaxi in China. But this wouldn't be the first time the companies have partnered up. Baidu has been providing Tesla with in-car mapping and navigation tech since 2020, and recently, Tesla expanded that deal to have Baidu provide it with all the mapping data for full self-driving in China. Ford and Stellantis have the worst relation with suppliers in the North American market, according to the latest supplier survey from Plant Moran. That survey is called the Supplier Working Relationship Survey, and it measures how well automakers treat their suppliers and how well they communicate with them. Toyota and Honda dominate the survey, with suppliers rating them as the best in the industry. General Motors lags behind them, but it is making progress. Nissan is a ways behind GM, but is rising strongly, while Ford's rating is plummeting and Stellantis is rated the worst, though it has improved a bit lately. One reason why suppliers are so down on Ford? Many of them invested heavily in its EV programs, and with sales well below projections, they're losing money on those programs now. Many industry experts believe that automakers with the best supplier relationships tend to perform the best. Cadillac was once known as the standard of the world, but on Autoline After Hours a few weeks ago, the auto extremist Peter DiLorenzo says the brand no longer knows who or what they are and why. In other words, Cadillac has a marketing problem. But one way it could build itself back up is by going back to old-school coach building, where luxury cars were hand-assembled and decked out to their owners' wishes. Of course, it offers these services for the $300,000 plus Celestiq, but Cadillac also came out with a special edition of the CT5V Blackwing that gives customers a similar a la carte customization for the paint materials. A team spends around 200 hours painting, hand-assembling, and validating the cars, which adds about $36,000 to the price. But the director of the team would like to grow and do even more. Chinese automaker NIO is coming out with what I think is the ultimate road trip technology. Gasgoo reports that it's launching Power Swap on Pilot, basically a vehicle equipped with its latest self-driving tech, driving autonomously on the freeway, can now exit the freeway, drive itself to a battery swap station, swap out the battery on its own, and then get back on the freeway. NIO says there are 243 swapping stations along highways that are now compatible with the service. Fiat says the Topolino was designed and engineered in Italy, so it put a little sticker of the Italian flag on every one that rolled off the assembly line. The only problem is that assembly line is in Morocco, and Italian authorities say those stickers violate the country's Made in Italy rules. So Fiat no longer puts those little stickers on the cars. And here's something that adds a little wrinkle to the story. The Topolino is actually based on the Citroën Ami, which was designed and engineered in France. And Opel also has a version of the Ami called the Roxy. A month ago, Italian authorities forced Alfa Romeo to drop the name of its newest crossover, called the Milano, because it's made in Poland. Alfa now calls it the Junior. Ah yes, isn't the auto industry interesting? We've got labor strife, management shakeups, suppliers mad at car companies, a global price war, and a major brouhaha over a sticker on a car. One thing about this auto industry, there's never a dull moment. But that brings us to the end of today's show. Thanks for making Autoline a part of your day.
Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone, solutions for your journey. Intrepid Control Systems, over-the-air engineering boost your game. Teijin Automotive Technologies, the formula for better mobility. And by ZF.
When the peace and quiet of your morning commute is as comforting as your morning macchiato. That's what really matters. Bridgestone Turanza EV tires. Less noise for more quiet comfort.
Intrepid's NeoVi Pi, allowing automotive engineers to interface, capture, and monitor vehicle data using Raspberry Pi. As a matter of fact, it's the automotive industry's first robust platform for Raspberry Pi, featuring Intrepid CAN-FD technology and Raspberry Pi Compute Module. The NeoVi Pi is designed for automotive environments, allowing use with relative power ranges and applications. In addition, the NeoVi Pi enables you to use the Raspberry Pi for compute while avoiding additional development to adapt to network environments. That makes the NeoVi Pi powerful enough to solve your vehicle network problems, yet small enough to fit in your backpack. One of many Intrepid tools used for developing zonal architecture and software-defined vehicles.